Okay, so one of the things about punching, sometimes people will talk about the sound when it comes out. Now, I have a heavyweight Shirado Dogi. It's a wonderful company. They don't pay me to say that, but most people that do Okinawan karate have come across their Shirado Dogi. The heavy material helps to make a bit of the snap. But what also helps to make the snap is when this hand comes back, I bring it across my body. Now, some people will actually do this in a tournament and slap themselves to make it sound good. If what you're doing is slapping yourself, you're not helping yourself. You're actually taking some of the energy away from the technique. So that's not what we want to do. However, if what you do is just relax the arm on the return and use the hip twist to pull the hand in, it's going to naturally collapse against the body. And there'll be a brushing that takes place while the other hand comes out. So it comes like this, okay? So if you hear people that make these kinds of sounds, watch the backhand, and if it just returns, that's one thing. If instead they slap themselves while the hand comes back, they're actually using muscle tension to direct their hand into their body and pull it back, and that's slowing it down. So we don't want to do that. What we do want to do with the returning hand, at this point, there's lots of things to do with it. And there's a lot of people that have talked about using techniques to pull back and put the other opponent off of position, and those are great techniques. In the beginning, though, it's really good timing mechanism to be able to bring it back at the same time this one comes out. My arms are the same length most of the time, right? Most human beings. So by the time the punch comes out, the other hand is back. What that does is it times the tension in the back of the body. Hold on, if I can borrow you for a second. Go ahead and put an arm out, okay? And if this hand is dangling, where it's not connected, I'm going to try to move your hand. Don't let me. Okay, now put this here and then stabilize it. It becomes a lot more stable when it's like this. So the process of punching, while this comes out, this one comes back, by the time this one reaches its target, this one pulls back, and these muscles in here are engaged by virtue of the fact that the hand has been withdrawn. If these muscles are engaged and these are engaged, then we have bilateral stability on either side of the spine, which makes the technique a little bit more stable. So one of the purposes of the returning hand, or the Hikite, is to time the other hand going out, putting it in. A number of people have debunked the idea that the mass of this coming back somehow is additive to the mass and the force and the momentum of the hand going up. They're absolutely correct. And one of the guys that I've seen debunk it has an engineering background. He broke it down in mathematics extremely well. There isn't a seesawing motion where this comes back and this goes out. But there is a physiological function of tension turning on at the right time on the back to stabilize what's going on. So I think that's one of the earliest understandings of what this is for. There are others, if I can borrow you, Kevin. So another function, of course, of the pulling hand is, say you're punching me with this hand, okay? And I use, go ahead and punch. I use this hand as a pulling hand while this one comes out. And I do something along these lines, punch. I'm coming in and punching out, or come in. Use this as a rake in here while this one comes out. Now we start to use the pulling hand for lots of interesting techniques while this one's coming out with what looks like a punch but might actually be a seize or a clamping of the elbow or hyperextension. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Thank you.